Hey, it's summer vacation. What are you guys going to be doing during the break?
I still can't move my head, so I've been on a break, air quotes, kind of ish, for a month. Yeah,
I guess that means you'll be starting school and catching up as soon as you get better. You haven't really been on break. What about you, Sam?
I started Calculus 2 this week, and I'm taking online public speaking.
Oh,
is that fun?
I guess that summers just aren't.
Math is fun. I like the calculus too. The public speaking's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I guess we're not going to have a summer break this summer for you guys, are we? Well, we can at least have some fun recording the show.
Yeah. There we go.
Always.
That's going to be awesome. And we'll get to the show after these ads specifically chosen for you because your cat walked across your laptop while you went to the bathroom and it went to this website for that one product that's like showing up everywhere now. This is Tatooine Sons.
Shoot to Star Wars, DC, and Marvel fans.
But wait,
What's our fourth one?
You're not prepared.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. I like G.I. Joe's good.
Yeah.
We got that new Snake Eyes movie coming up. Yeah. Anyway, before we get into today's show, I'd like to remind you that Tatooine Sons has a TeePublic store you've got to check out. You'll find lots of shirts, mugs, t-shirts, stickers, pillows, tapestries, rugs, maybe?
And the new, very popular, by the way, the bed bitch shirt.
Bed bitch?
Yeah, Mom thinks I say a bad word when I say that.
Bed bitch?
I didn't say a bad word. Okay.
It's called an accent. You'll find all of that with all your favorite characters and more on there.
Yeah.
The best part about it, though, is that 100% of the proceeds from your purchase go to help children in poverty through One Child.
Yeah.
You get some really cool pop culture swag and help change a child's life at the same time. Just click on the link here in the show notes and take a look around while we get this show started.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen to it.
It's a speech for the first speech for my public speaking. There's 3, so I have to do well on all 3, otherwise I fail the class.
It's like 30% of your class,
right? It's a 3 to 5 minute, a speech. It shouldn't be that hard, but I cannot get past the introduction. There's 5 points.
Why can't you get past the intro?
Because I keep forgetting what's coming up next, or I keep saying
It's not as easy as it looks,
and I can't look down at my notes because I don't know. I mean, I've got note cards, but like, am I supposed to look at them?
Yeah, I told them, use them. They're there for a reason.
Well, they're not here to listen to your, frustrations with your public speaking. They're here because they want to listen to talk about pop culture. So welcome to Tatooine Sons of Pop Culture Podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of this generation, that there is a story, it is written on our souls, and that these myths speak to that story, and that's why we talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and a bunch of other things. BB Nate, you watched Glass this week.
I did.
It really feels like everything we just said right there, doesn't it?
I really like it.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
I want to watch those again.
Yeah,
me too.
I'm David.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Father.
Hi, I'm the dad. I'm joined by my amazing sons. Nathan, what are you talking about this week?
I'm talking about a preview of Sweet Tooth. And before you
I have a sweet tooth.
That's
why I'm diabetic.
Before you start complaining that it's already out, we're a little bit behind. So we're giving a non-spoiler preview of Sweet Tooth.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that haven't seen this or aren't even, it's not on their radar because I'm all over social and I didn't know much about it. So I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be getting into it and maybe having this preview helps them. What about you, Sam? What are you talking about?
I'm doing a preview on Loki. The new
Everybody
Loki
knows
series.
that one's coming.
Yeah. Yes, so I'm going through everything we know about the series right now and a little bit of theorization.
Yeah, and in just a couple of days, Adam Lance Garcia did a video interview with Tom Hiddleston, and it's going to be coming out on the 7th. Yeah.
Wow.
He was super excited.
That's so cool.
About that. I'm talking Bad Batch.
Of course.
The Bid Bitch.
Bid Bitch.
It's I'm a little worried about Wrecker, but we'll save that for the
No, you shouldn't be. There's no reason to be.
Yeah, so we got to go to the movies. We finally
did.
We have our AMC Stubbs A-list again.
We haven't had that for a while.
Since with COVID.
There was no reason in Florida. It was 30 minutes away to go to AMC, so...
Yeah, and there wasn't a ton of movies coming out. You have to be using it
movies.
multiple times a month for it to be worth it, but it's definitely worth it.
Yes.
We saw two movies this week. We saw Quiet Place last week.
Quiet Place 2, yeah.
Yeah, what'd you think about it, Sam?
That was a lot of fun. Very good. I was a little worried. Sequels can be a bit hit or miss when it comes to movies, but I think they nailed it. If you think of it as a part 2 in a 3-part story, not
no spoilers.
This is Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
It is very much
This is
so.
The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's not dividing
Attack of the
fans.
Clones.
Well, yeah, Attack of the Clones. It felt like an ending in Attack of the Clones, but that's another conversation for another day.
It is.
And then the next day is BB-8.
Yeah, we went to go see Cruella.
That wasn't on our list of movies we were going to go see. Why did we decide in the last second to go see it?
Well, we had A-list, and we heard great things about it, and we're just like, well, why don't we just go see it? So Sammy was doing some homework and helping Mom around the house, and Mom was, I don't know what she was doing.
Well, she didn't want to see it until we saw it because she was afraid she was going to be disappointed.
You and I saw it, and it was very good. We're both ones that can admit if we go into a movie thinking it's not going to be good and coming out being like, that was really good. And we're seeing it again this weekend.
And we could flip that. If we can go into a movie expecting it to be awesome and be willing to admit that we didn't like it with it. But no, this was, it's good. We're going back again this weekend. Let's see, Sunday afternoon. We're going to go. Savannah's going to come on that.
Yeah, she's really excited to see
Mom's going. Even Grammy's going to come along.
It's a whole affair.
It's a family affair. So we joked about it at the beginning, but Sam, you're back at school again.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going. I've never done a summer class, and they move quick, y'all. I'll just say that. So it's fun to try and keep up with all of it, but I'm having fun with calculus. I always like math and stuff, so it's good to get back to that. It's coming back to me. So.
Good. It's all coming. I got songs of today. All coming back. It's all coming back to me now. That's I think it's Celine Dion.
Okay.
Yeah. I always got that song confused with another song by Meatloaf, and that's not the same thing. Anyway. And then, we did the Pop Culture Trivia Challenge. I started.
We did. That was
First
fun.
night was a little bit
hectic,
rocky.
Yeah.
I don't think it was because I wasn't prepared personally, but because the microphone didn't work and
they weren't
the
ready
computer
for you.
didn't work. And I walked in and they kind of were like,
yeah, that's right. That happens tonight.
Yeah, that was the way they did it. And so it was fun. But the second night, I mean, we did a great time. We did The Office. That was a lot of fun. BB Nate, you're a huge Office fan. What did you think about it?
I thought it was very fun. I thought the questions were going to be kind of,
generic and easy.
Yeah, just kind of like surface level. But no, they really dug into the deep questions, and it was fun to try to rack my brain to see if I could figure them out. So
next night we went to the other restaurant and did 80s pop culture trivia.
And
how'd you guys do with that?
It was fun, but we did not know anything.
It was a lot of fun.
Not seeing the Breakfast Club hurt us.
There was a lot of questions about those types of 80s, Brat Pack type movies. That's what they called it. There's a whole group of actors. Anthony Michael Hall, who was one of the guys at Pensacon, was part of the Brat Pack. The Rat Pack with Frank Sinatra and all that. Well, they had an 80s group of they were always in the same movies, and they were all sort of teenage angst movies, that type of thing. And they called that group the Brat Pack.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I learned something today.
The owner and I had a text conversation today about how they need to do that kind of thing at these, cons, like Pensacon or Alabama Con or any of these others. And she's all about trying to make that happen. So
that would be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun. Next week we're going to be doing on Tuesday in Foley. We're going to be doing 80s pop culture there. So if you guys come, maybe you've heard all the questions. And then you still won't remember them. And then 90s pop culture in Fairhope the next night. So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. But let's talk about some Bad Batch stuff. It's not like we should be surprised or anything, but it has become very clear that Dave Filoni had two very important goals for season 7 of the Clone Wars. One was to finish Ahsoka's story, of course. But it was also to introduce some new characters that he planned on using in future shows. Of course, we've got the Bad Batch with their own series, but the other major characters from that final season of the Clone Wars might be more important than we originally believed.
Loki religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
You're from one of those cat people.
Yeah.
The cat people.
I don't remember the species name.
Okay.
Yeah, she picked.
She got
one
it from one of them.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's good. What did you think about that? She was,
It's kind of fun.
She struggled at the beginning. Do you think that? I don't want to get ahead because there's an idea that I've got there. So let's talk about it instead. What were your initial thoughts on Decommissioned, episode 6 of the Clone Wars? I'll start with you, BB Nate. What were your initial thoughts on the episode?
I thought it was very fun. That feels like what my reaction is going to be to all the episodes. It was very good. I felt like the action sequences were really great in this episode. I love the development with the whole mercenary idea, especially with Hunter. It feels like he's kind of going away from that. There's one thing,
Like
though,
what we discussed. Yeah.
Are we okay getting into spoilers at this point?
If you're listening to this show, it's all spoilers.
Okay. So there's one thing.
We're the exact opposite of Coffee with Kenobi. He won't even speculate about what's going to happen in the next episode. We just make it up as we go. So if you're listening to our show, go ahead. You're spoiled.
There's one thing that they did in this episode that I'm not a huge fan of, and it happens with Star Wars a lot, where they introduce something in another series like Clone Wars, and then they keep bringing them in other series as what feels to be like a retcon, and they just keep bringing them in,
Such as
the sisters
in this one, and with the High Republic, they're now bringing the High Republic stuff into Dr. Aphra, and then all these other series. It's just like this never existed before, and it was never hinted about before, but now it's being brought into all these things, and I'm sure we'll figure out more, and I think it'll be more important later on, and the Martez sisters will actually mean something, but right now it kind of just feels like he wants to bring it in to be like these weren't not important characters. So
no, I think it fits just fine in Star Wars. Everything's retconned at some point in every series, just like even Marvel and DC do it, I'm sure, to an extent, especially with prequels and the different weird timelines that things are released in. It's inevitable. I think the Martez sisters worked because they were both the Bad Batch and the Martez sisters were introduced in season 7 of the Clone Wars. It's not like they were like two completely different, from different medias, and then they smushed them together. It feels like it fit well and made sense.
Is this more confirmation that the Bad Batch is just simply the sequel series to?
Yeah, it really is just season 8.
And the title sequence of the first episode where it was Clone Wars and then burnt out. I'm like, so you just confirmed that it's a different name for Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's real. It really does feel like that. Not that I'm complaining.
Did you enjoy the episode, Sam?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like Nate said, they do a great job with this series of balancing the action and the fun between things, along with story and character development and moving things along, all in a great package with fun characters. They do a great job, and they did it well this episode.
I think, BB Nate, what you have to understand is that everything in Star Wars after the original trilogy is a retcon. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, the prequels were retcons. The story was changed. It was developed, and then everything that we've had happen in the sequel. It always is that way. It's called world building, and so what they're trying to do is they're trying to take things and flesh them out differently and introduce, that this story is a lot more rich. But there are some people that are critical of the series that they're spending too much time bringing in things from other stories.
Not progressing the story itself.
Yeah, they're bringing in the Martez sisters. They're going to Corellia. Why can't we have? It could have been two different characters that did that. Why do they have to be the Martez sisters?
We haven't had Crosshair in 3 episodes.
You got to remember though, this isn't Falcon and Winter Soldier or WandaVision.
I know, but
there's a lot more episodes for them to fill.
6 episodes in.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the details of the episode and kind of walk through it in more of an organized way. It feels to me like the Sid character from last episode. They're back. They're still on Ord Mandel. It's kind of like this is going to become the new normal. They're going to be working for Sid, kind of, whether they like it or not. She sort of blackmails them. She's like, I know who you are, and you're going to make a lot of money if you do this.
And so am I.
I'm going to make a lot of money if you do this. And if you don't do this, just remember, I know who you are. Yeah, that was basically what she said. Yeah. Is the Bad Batch going to be like the A-team of Star Wars? Is that what the series is turning into?
I like that. Yeah, that's a fun concept. I mean, I think they are going, this was hinted at the end of the episode, I think they are going to eventually take a side and start fighting either for the Empire or for the Rebellion. I think we all know which side it's going to be. But for now, I do kind of like the whole, freelance group just doing, mercenary jobs. I think that's a really neat concept in Star Wars.
BB Nate, there was a scene there early on where, going back to the bow that you were talking about earlier, where Omega's being trained on how to utilize it, how to use it. She's shooting at a target. She's missing a lot. And Sid comes in and wants to talk about her strength, right? And she's showing off a little bit, Sid's shooting it, that type of thing. But Echo seems to be suggesting that it's not about strength; it's about distraction. She needs to block out all the distractions around her and sort of, in some ways, kind of center herself.
Yeah,
very force driven on that. Let's skip ahead since we're talking about the bow. All the way at the end of the big battle, she takes the bow out and starts firing and hitting with that. She's not stronger.
No.
So it's Echo's position that actually is the right position. She was able, and she even says it. It's about distraction. She got rid of the distractions and focused. Does this not feel a little bit more like Force related to you guys?
I never got that feeling. I think it's just a matter. It's, battlefield training. It's just, centering yourself, not like shell shock or whatever. I think that's what was going on. I didn't get any real Force vibes from it.
I didn't, and that could be where they're going. It would make sense,
yeah.
But I didn't get that feeling from this episode specifically. I just think that we're getting more and more details that Sid is not a good person to be around, and that the Bad Batch is really just what Omega needs right now. And so I think that is where they're trying to go. But they might be going for the Force. I think that would be
I wouldn't mind that.
Let's go back to the Martez sisters. We saw Rafa and Trace. They're in there. We're on Corellia. There was a part of me that started doing the math. I wanted to know how old Han and Kira were in this moment, kind of wondering if we were going to see Han and Kira, or Han at least,
pulling job
around the same age as Omega in this sequence. We didn't get that, but we saw these characters running around, and then you kind of wondered who they were going to be.
Yeah.
Did you think for a second they might be Han or Kira?
I was almost convinced for a second.
For a little bit there.
Wasn't, though. It was Rafa and Trace, the Martez sisters. Were you guys surprised to see them in this series?
Oh, very surprised. I thought we were done with their characters, but they don't spend, 3 or 4 episodes on them just to forget about them. So it makes sense that they brought them in, and it makes sense for them to bring them in this series, being as it was the Bad Batch and stuff.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised they were in this episode. I'm not sure if they'll come back again, but it was really cool to see them. And like most people, I thought they were just there to build Ahsoka's character and just be that. But no, I'm excited to see them back. So
a lot of people said this about Caleb Doom in the first episode, and one of the reasons that they kind of, it was easy to bring Caleb in was because they had already created the character and all. It's a technically challenging, time-consuming process to create all of these characters visually,
right?
In CGI and everything, 3D and modeling and all that. And they had created Caleb Doom for just a very brief moment in the Clone Wars series, and it was kind of like, well, it makes sense that they brought him in because they've already got the modeling in place and everything. It's easy to do that. Might have been the same type of situation to some extent with this, but I think that there's more to those characters because of the connection that they have. They seem to be working with somebody. They have the right mindset. Is that a big shift from the way that we see them in their arc in the Clone Wars, especially the older sister? I can't remember which one that is.
It's Rafa.
Is it Rafa? Okay. Yeah, talk about that for a second, because she was all in it for themselves and everything else. Yeah. They seem to have chosen a side.
Yeah, I think Ahsoka had a really big impact on them. I know they were really jaded by the Jedi, and then them seeing that not all Jedi are like that, not the Jedi aren't bad. I think that kind of woke them up a bit. Not just calling them woke here, but you know what I mean. They realized that there's more out there than just, scoring their next job and getting food. There's things to fight for out there. So yeah, I think it makes sense that they're fighting for something larger than themselves now.
Mm-hmm. And BB Nate, do you think that the Martez sisters were making a one-off appearance in the Bad Batch, or that we're going to see them again?
No. With that tease at the end, they're coming back. At least we'll figure out who that tease is, and if that's all they do, then that's fine.
Yeah, we'll save that. We'll come back to that in a second. It was weird for me to see, they turn on the what's the name, the droid, the
R5,
main droid.
I think.
No, the main droid. That they were going on the mission,
droid?
the tactical droid. That's what I was looking for. The tactical droid. They tiered them on because they're stuck. They're pinned in this destruction facility or salvage facility or whatever. And the police droids, Imperial police droids, and the Corellian police droids are coming after them, and they aren't going to get out. Bad Batch or the Martez sisters. There's no way they're getting out of there. And so they turn on the tactical droid and actually use the battle droids to help take on these other police droids. It was weird to see the battle droids on the good side for a little bit.
Yeah, I saw Hunter almost shot one out of habit for a second there. Yeah. It was pretty cool. Yeah, zombie droids.
Yeah, I guess it was really cool to see that again and the dynamic of that. And yeah, it was really funny seeing Hunter almost shooting the battle.
Did you guys hear though? You say Achuta.
And one of the
droids said
Ichuta. Yeah.
Did this get a TV MA rating? Because in the Star Wars world, that's about as bad of a word as you could say, according to Pablo Hidalgo. On that, I mean, we won't try to translate that, but let's just say Mama's going to wash her mouth out with soap if you say the word that it stands for.
They say they won't translate it. Like in Star Wars, they can't translate it just because of how bad it is.
Wow. Can this series feel any more upside down than it does? The battle droids are fighting on the good side. We've got clone troopers on the bad side. We've got... Yeah, it feels just different in this point.
I think it's blurring the lines. That's what they're trying to show, is that the lines are blurred at this point in the galaxy, and people are having to pick sides.
Yeah.
They may end up changing sides, such as the clones and the droids and stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about picking sides, because the Martez sisters really want, to talk to the Bad Batch and Hunter specifically about telling them, basically said, you're going to have to pick sides at some point in this.
Everybody picks
we don't know 100% for sure what, who the Martez sisters are working for, but it seems like they're against the Empire. So they're part of this resistance, Who is it? Resistance isn't the right word. And rebellion. It could be rebellion, but not
early
quite. Yeah,
rebellion.
it's, I've got all this canon.
I've
got all this canon in my head. I'm like, you can't call it the rebellion yet because Mon Mothma hasn't called it the rebellion yet in season 2 of the anyway.
Would insurgents work?
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, they
vocabulary.
They take off. They go. We see them on a holler
in that ship that they had worked on in the episodes,
and we see a hologram. We only see like a shoulder and a part of a sleeve.
Wow.
We don't hear
Dave.
a voice. It's
Dave,
intentionally ambiguous at this point. It could be lots of different people that it could be. You guys thought Bail.
I immediately thought Bail
went to Bail. Saw's already got a character. He's already in the series.
Yeah,
Saw
I don't think
Gerrera
it's
could
Saw.
be. Some people think it might be Rex.
That's what I thought too.
No.
And there's even a theory that it could be Maul. That one seems a little bit weird, but let's just bring Maul into everything. Who do you guys think it was at the end?
It's either Bail or Rex.
Could be Mon Mothma though. Now that I think about the robes, it could be Mon.
Judging by the color of the robes, I wouldn't think so.
That's what
it wasn't white.
Confirms it. I thought it was.
No.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't. It was more like a...
And for all of you listening, Sam is colorblind.
Shush. So. Camo-y dirt-ish.
Oh, then it's probably Bail.
Color.
I'm going Bail.
It's either Bail or Rex. Rex, because we know we see him in the series. We know this.
Well, we know we see Bail in this series too. Jimmy Smits has been confirmed.
Okay, so either one. See, we're good.
Yeah, I don't think it's Rex. I don't think he'd wear something like that.
Okay. Well, because when we see him in the previews, he's in his armor.
Right.
He might be wearing a trench coat, being cool.
Cool.
Let's we've got some takeaways like we did last week. I thought that was a good thing.
We can just skip over this first one.
No, we can't because it was
basket case right now.
Because good soldiers follow orders, and this is Wrecker. He needs to get an extra strength helmet or something.
Give him some ibuprofen.
Something.
Nah, he's too big for that. He needs some Tylenol.
Some Tylenol. he needs the good stuff.
He needs something else because he's having these headaches. And at one point, he was literally on the same page as Crosshair. Good soldiers follow orders. When do you think that we're going to see Wrecker do his full-on meltdown? Because we know it's coming.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is he's going to have another glitch or something, like a minor one. He's not going to go full on like crazy, and then Tech is going to be like, oh shoot, something's happening. He's going to learn about it and then fix Wrecker and be like, yo, I know how to fix Crosshairs now, and they're going to fix Crosshair.
Now, what's going to happen is they're going to meet Rex. And Rex is going to be like...
yeah. He's like, did y'all fix this?
And they're going to be like, no, I didn't know. And he's like, oh, you got to fix me.
Yeah, I almost killed my Jedi until she fixed me. So
they're basically just... Rex is going to tell them they're going to get all the chips out and it's all going to be good. Then
that would be
get Crosshair
big emotional letdown because they have set this up.
No, that's the point.
I can't have Wrecker turn
They're
bad.
setting that up so that it can happen with Rex so that they can figure out how to stop it so they can get Crosshair back.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, and since I wrote the show notes and it's my segment, I'm going to say it. I think Omega seems more and more Force sensitive. I think they're going there. I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy about that. Dan Z last night on the Bad Batch pregame on Twitter Spaces, he's kind of like, I don't really want them to make her Force sensitive.
It sets up Palpatine in Rise of the Skywalker.
I can get why they don't want Force sensitives in this show. Because this show, we've had a Force sensitive, what it feels like every single animated series. It's just I'm kind of done with it.
Right. Well, I think I still stand by what I said last week. I don't think she's going to be a full on Force sensitive. Just more like a Force attuned kind of. I don't know the best way to put it. She's just barely able to tap.
She's one with the Force, and the Force is
right.
With her.
And I think it's going to be like a prototype clone for what we see in Rise of Skywalker. This is still years and years before then. So this is just the first iteration.
Still no Crosshair. I know you talked
what's
about
up with
that.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Dan Z had a really great point last night on the Bad Batch pregame, which is every Thursday. Every Thursday evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, either on Tatooine Suns on Twitter or next week it'll be on Around the Galaxy's Twitter account with Pete Fletzer. So if he shows up next week, he didn't show up last night. I love you, Pete. I know that you told us that you weren't going to be there because you had a family priority, which is more important than Twitter. I mean, honestly, let's just be honest. There's about 948 million things that are more important than Twitter. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah, he said last night that Crosshair not showing up actually is great for the character and for the story, because then it makes the weight of when he does come so much more significant.
That's true.
I get it.
If he's there on their tail every single episode and they have to worry about all these things happening, and then there's Crosshair in the background checking them down, Crosshair just becomes part of the story. When Crosshair shows up again, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, it's going to be a central point.
So
that makes sense. Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see. Bad Batch
another week.
I know it seems to surprise us every week. My gut is that these first few episodes are sort of placing the players on the board, and that the second half of the season is going to bring some major galaxy impacting revelations. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Sam, what do you got going?
Yeah, this week I'm going to catch everyone up on what they need to know about this new Loki series coming later this week. We'll quickly recap Loki's history, talk about what the heck the show is even about, and theorize as to who could be the big baddie in the series.
And that's coming up after these ads specifically chosen for you because school's out and it's time to have some fun for everybody but the Tatooine Sons. But this is Tatooine Sons.
Hello.
Hi.
Tatooine Sons
That was loud. Thanks.
Hello.
My ears are bleeding.
You're welcome for the peak. Before we get back to the show, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for listening so much. It's fun talking about all of this, but not except for Record. That's not fun. But even more fun because all of your amazing feedback telling us about how much you enjoy listening. It's always fun getting a review. I always love seeing it. Yeah. It's always amazing.
We got a review last week.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, look it up while I'm finishing this.
Our friend Lewis Holt.
Aww. And it's really fun reading the reviews, which I think we're about to at some point. But now there's a single place you can go to review us that really helps us get the word out. It's called podchaser.com. And as our way of saying thank you but for reviewing us, we will make a donation to one child in your honor. Your review will end up helping a child living in extreme poverty. And don't worry, if you've already reviewed us on another service, you can give us a show review on Podchaser and even rate and review individual episodes every single week.
Yeah, so Lou, you could come back and review us next week if you wanted to, or this week as well, because his review last week says the safest place for a family to celebrate and learn about pop culture fandom on the World Wide Web. David and his two sons are very knowledgeable, genuine, and real. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks for all you're doing to help kids, foster kids as well. We really do appreciate that.
Yes, just click on the link in the show notes or search for Tatooine Sons, SONS, on podchaser.com. Thanks again. Let's get back to the show.
Awesome.
Be on your guard. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
You're coming to is as the footsteps of steps.
There are many magic rings in this world, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly.
It's so comic booky. I love it.
It is comic booky.
All right. Well, this week I'm going to talk about everything we know about the Loki series and give a little quick recap about Loki's history, just in case someone's not familiar. All of this information, though, is from Time Out's. It's an appropriate website from their article, which is linked in the show notes. So first off, that quick, brief recap of Loki's history. He first showed up in Thor, was the main bad guy. Came back in Avengers, also the main bad guy. Then in Thor: The Dark World, he kind of started switching sides a little bit. And then in Thor: Ragnarok, he became a sort of good guy, but still had his Loki ways about him. And then in Infinity War, just as we thought he was going to be good, he died.
He died.
For real. Like, he's
dead.
He's dead.
Or it did.
No. So if he's dead, though, how does he appear in the show named after him? We're not actually going to see the Loki from Infinity War.
Yeah, it's a different Loki.
Yeah, so in Endgame, when the Avengers went back in time to get the Infinity Stones, the Loki from the end of Avengers got a hold of the Tesseract and teleported away. That's the Loki we see in this show.
So stop. That means that the Loki in this show is a bad guy.
He didn't have any of that time with his brother. No. He's straight up Loki from the end of Avengers.
Yeah, destroy the universe, working directly for Thanos. Bad guy.
Turned Hawkeye bad. That guy.
He's kind of always wavered on the good and bad sides, and so I'm wondering if we'll see.
Not at the end of Avengers.
Not at this point.
Yeah,
not
at the end of Avengers, but
he very well could turn.
Yeah, he very well could turn. And then we see
before.
a
good guy Loki, ish anti-hero Loki.
Yeah, but this Loki is what's known as a variant. A variant is a version of a character that broke into a different timeline. Think of the Spider-Verse. Think of Into the Spider-Verse. All those characters in their universes were normal, but as soon as they went into Miles' universe, they became variants in this case. So they're all normal where they're from, but anywhere else they're a variant. That's the Loki.
So the multiverse exists immediately starting Wednesday.
Yes.
I mean, it is an official part. It's not a red herring like in Far From Home with Mysterio, right? That was fake, right? Did I get that
was
right?
Yeah, that was fake.
We need to watch that movie again.
Yes.
But the point I'm saying is that now the multiverse exists.
This is legit stuff.
And we know it was coming because
Doctor Strange, WandaVision, all that stuff. But yes, this is really starting to open things up in the MCU. Nate, just for fun, I just have a quick question. Is there any term like this in the DC? We got variants in Marvel. Do they have anything like that in DC?
I don't think so.
Finally something original.
They don't really deal with that very much.
Okay. What are you talking about? The multiverse exists all over the place.
Multiverse, yes. But what
you just talked about Injustice last week.
Well, that whole kind of the whole one where they're going to different timelines and all that stuff, unless they're pulled into different timelines, they're not normally put into different versions of that world, unless they mess something up themselves.
Okay.
There are instances of it, but they're not as common as they are apparently now in Marvel. So,
all right. Well, I was just curious to see if Marvel stole another thing.
Finally came up with their own idea.
So now let's talk about what the show is about. What is happening in this series? It's going to follow the titular character. I love throwing that in whenever I can.
Use that word every time you can.
It's fun. It's a fun word to say. As it's going to follow Loki as he falls in with the TVA, and the TVA forces Loki to go back and fix all the broken timelines he caused when he took the Tesseract. That really screwed stuff up. Okay. Now, quick explanation of what the TVA is. This is a direct quote from the article. It is a clandestine interstellar bureaucracy tasked with ensuring that the very fabric of space and time isn't torn apart by heroes and villains' tendency to jump back and forth in time.
It would have been really nice if the Sorcerer Supreme would have told them that entire thing existed when we were in Endgame, because she was all worried about all these timelines. Well, there's an agency that could have fixed it.
Maybe she's like a contractor for the TVA, because she was trying to keep the timeline from breaking.
Like, I just don't want to go through all that
paperwork. Man.
That's exactly it. She's like, I don't want to do the paperwork. Don't do this.
So as I was writing these notes last night, I tend to do this when I'm researching this stuff. I go through a bit of a rabbit hole. I'll like go onto a wiki and Google stuff. I'm like, wow, I learned all sorts of stuff. I discovered that the TVA and Kang the Conqueror are actually heavily linked in the comics. We know that Kang the Conqueror is going to be showing up in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Basically, the TVA and Kang the Conqueror have a giant turf war over time and space in the Omniverse. Also, fun aside, the Omniverse is actually a really interesting concept. It literally encompasses everything. Not Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, like literally anything that exists is in the Omniverse.
Time out. Stop for just a second there.
Hem time.
So when we got this covered and Inside the Magic and some of those maybe a little bit less than reputable
websites,
entertainment news sources,
yes,
talk about things like Disney is in process, which is a legitimate conversation, I think, of purchasing Warner or DC or something like that.
It is. They were going to in 2016.
Okay.
They were in like talks.
So they've talked about they could be purchasing that and that a DC Marvel crossover could take place. Could that actually take place in the story because of the Omniverse?
It could, but the Omniverse is just more of like a fun meta writing tool just to reference anything. It's not really heavily used much, but it is a fun concept.
What if they brought in the Omniverse and then brought in Star Wars and Star Trek?
Along
and
with...
JJ could direct it because he's directed both.
Yeah,
no, okay.
But I thought that was a fun aside. But regardless, this could be setting up his first appearance, just like we saw Thanos in Infinity War for the first time. We could see Kang the Conqueror show up in this.
False.
Why?
We saw him at the end of Avengers.
That's what I said. I said Avengers.
You said Infinity War.
Oh, I meant Avengers. The first Avengers, we see him. That was his first appearance, but he wasn't a bad guy till much later. This could be what they're doing with Kang the Conqueror. Also, I opened up his wiki. There's all sorts of history with this guy. He could be a really fun major bad guy for this coming series. Do you guys think we could see the first appearance of Kang in this series? Or do you think they're going to save that for a later thing?
Probably. I mean, we're going into the series not knowing what to expect. A lot like WandaVision. Falcon and Winter Soldier were like, okay, Falcon's going to wonder if he should take up the mantle or not. WandaVision were like, okay, what is this series? And I'm thinking the same thing of Loki. That's why I was surprised Mom's actually interested in this series. It's very interesting how it's going to work out. I'm not sure if we're going to even see many main bad guys. We don't even know who a bad guy in this series is going to be, if there is going to be one.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, it's exciting.
I'm just bummed all of a sudden.
Why?
Because I've got to work on Wednesday nights.
Darn.
And it's coming out on Wednesday. I got to figure out when we're going to watch Loki.
That sucks.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that could be an interesting thing they're going to set up here. But we see Loki working with Mobius M. Mobius. That's Owen Wilson's character. as he's sent to multiple points.
Lightning McQueen.
Yes. Wow. As he sent to multiple points in the MCU and also moments in the real world, including, we saw this in the trailers. I don't know if you know what this is, the DB Cooper heist.
Oh,
that's Loki in the suit jumping out of the plane.
No.
That's the DB Cooper heist.
No.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I love the DB Cooper story.
He does. He's watched documentaries on it and forced me to watch
IMDb. There's an actress credited with being the flight attendant. Yeah, the stewardess. That's legit happening. Wow. That's going to be like the explanation as to where the heck he went and who he was. It was Loki.
Oh,
so that's going to be, and there'll be multiple moments.
Dad's fanboying about a mass criminal.
No, the legend of DB Sweeney. If you don't know what we're talking, DB Cooper, DB Sweeney. That's another actor. Excuse me, DB Cooper. You have got to look that up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it is bizarre.
Yeah, he jumped out of a plane with money, and they never found him.
I've watched the documentary that Dad said I should watch.
You totally, by the way, if you don't know what this is, you've totally seen like the sketches of the guy. Somewhere. I've seen even those, and I didn't know what this was about. So anyway,
All right, go.
They're going to be showing that in the series along with other points in the MCU and the real world. It's going to be kind of like he's going to be going back in time to like fix something that could like cause the universe to end, essentially.
Well, because it's Marvel.
If he doesn't fix this, everything's going to end.
Why is that the case with every single Marvel thing?
Because that's Marvel.
Like the world's going to end. Why can't we just have like a normal like beat criminal or something?
Well, that was
Spider-Man. Iron Man and Spider-Man. Yeah. But do you guys think we could see like a Back to the Future style show where Loki has to basically go back in time and fix all the stuff he messed up, like in Back to the Future too?
Right, but then if you think about that, I was joking about the scene in Endgame with the Sorceress Supreme, but
all the offshoots,
all the other offshoots. So he goes back in time and fixes one thing. It creates offshoots into the other.
Right.
This multiverse thing is probably starting as a result of this series in a big way. Like it's breaking off. It's going to get out of control. You got Wanda that's already done some weird things.
It's coming to the public's attention. Basically,
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. It's going to be a fun, almost like not a variety show, but each episode is going to have like a different setting and a different crisis that he's got to fix. It could set up a lot of interesting story points. And then like what you mentioned, Nate, who's the villain in this series?
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be a villain in this series, but there really, there wasn't one at the beginning of WandaVision either. So we didn't learn that till the end. So we could be seeing that here in this series. I mean, it could be revealed that someone's been pulling the strings like from the beginning, just like Agatha, like Mobius, the guy we see. He could be up to something sinister.
No, I want Vince Vaughn to show up and be
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, because he does all these movies with Owen Wilson.
Would I recognize the guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was confident. Or it could be that, like in Spider-Man: No Way Home, they could bring back old villains for Loki to face. We've got the multiverse. He's going back in time. They very well could bring in old, technically defeated villains at this point. There also could be the possibility that we encounter multiple Lokis in the series. Think about it. We got a multiverse. So, they could become potential allies or even foes. Who do you guys think is going to be the bad guy in the series, though? Time itself is the villain. Do you think? I wonder if that's a character. Another wiki rabbit hole for me to go down. If time itself is a character,
death is. So
yeah.
I don't know.
You think it's going to be a giant race against the clock?
Yeah, I think that not a race against the clock. Time, as in every time, like I was alluding to earlier. Every time he fixes something, 5 other things are broken now. New things are broken, and so he's got to go in there. They were teasing this to some extent in Endgame when they were having to go back and put the Infinity Stones back where they were, exactly where they were, without messing up the timeline. And even then, they messed that up.
Right.
The Tesseract messed that up. Steve messed that up because he stuck around. All of that. Now the universe is broken, and it's going to continue to get broken the more they try to put it together. That's what I think the enemy is.
I kind of want it to be Loki.
You want
himself? I want him to just get up to his old antics and his mischief, because he is the god of mischief, and just screw things up constantly.
All right.
And he has to keep fixing them.
Okay.
You guys think it'd be kind of fun though to see like multiple Lokis interacting?
I mean,
possibly even like fighting.
I'm sure we're
going
to see Lady Loki because that was kind of already teased in the trailer. At least people think so. So I'm sure we're going to see some other version of Loki.
Could you imagine seeing two Lokis in one room, like having conversation, just both being completely full of themselves?
It'd be awesome.
That'd be a lot of fun. But with what little research I did into the TVA and King the Conqueror, and with the Eternals coming soon, I can safely say there is still so much more for the MCU to explore, and it's only going to get more complicated and confusing from here on, so buckle up, and I'm all here for it. But be sure to check it out June 9th on Disney+. But Nate, I hear you've got a sweet segment.
That was a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so Sweet Tooth came out in 2009 under the DC Vertigo label and was a smash hit, like very, very popular. So much
Never heard of it.
So much so it's getting its own TV series, and it's actually already out, but we haven't had a chance to watch it yet, and we're kind of late to the game, but we're going to go over a preview of it, but of course, no spoilers. So let's get to it.
We don't want to spoil ourselves. And
exactly.
Yeah. That's coming after these ads specifically chosen for you by ad agencies that actually understand that podcasting is really cool. This is Tatooine Sons. Well, we've been talking about one child multiple times in this episode. We're going to keep talking about it because there are 400 million children right now that don't have things like food and water and medicine, and it's really easy for you to be a part of changing their lives, becoming a child champion. And if you want to learn how you can do that, then I want to encourage you to go to the show notes and click on the One Child link in there and learn about how for $39 a month you can provide food, medicine, education, social development, and so much more to a child who woke up this morning without hope. And you can be the one that brings that to them. So nothing better than that. So check it out and let us know if you sponsor, and we'll be more than happy to send you a free T-shirt on top of that. So that's all I got to say about that.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I can fly.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
The people in this room, which one is A, wearing a spangly outfit, and B, not of use?
There's only one God, man, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
That man has no limits.
So DC Vertigo never really dealt with these type of superheroes.
So it's not part of the multiverse.
It just happens to be published by
and it might be a part of the multiverse because they're
but it could be part of the it is
it is absolutely part of the omniverse.
There we go.
Yes, it is. It's a part of the omniverse.
So we could have a Star Wars, Star Trek, Sweet Tooth crossover.
Yeah, double S.
Yeah,
triple S. Or quintuple S because there's 5 S's technically. So I'm gonna
and the Simpsons.
Yeah. So and the Simpsons
and Sonic.
Okay. So I'm gonna give a quick description of Sweet Tooth. This is from the comic series specifically because I couldn't find a good description for the TV series, but they're the same thing. So after being raised in total isolation, Gus, a boy born with deer-like antlers, is left to survive in an American landscape devastated a decade earlier by an inexplicable pandemic. Yeah,
wait.
It all starts with a pandemic.
COVID. Are we sure this is in the omniverse or is this in this world?
Even more remarkable is that Gus is a part of a rare. What were you gonna? What were you gonna say?
He took the vaccine. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't judge me. Please don't.
Oh, come on. That's just got to be objectively funny, right?
It was so right there. I had to say it. Okay.
That was great.
Even more remarkable is that Gus is a part of a rare new breed of human-animal hybrid children who have emerged in its wake. All apparently immune to the infection. Yes. So
as soon as we see a kid pop up with antlers, we know COVID's over, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Enter Jeopard. A violent...
Jeopard?
Yes, Jeopard. Like shepherd, both a J, and not in the Jeopard. A violent, hulking drifter who soon takes in Gus and promises to lead him to the Preserve, air quotes, a fabled safe haven for hybrid children. Along the way, they'll have to contend with science militias, deadly scavengers, rival bounty hunters, and hybrid worshipping cultists as they fight to make it to safety and solve the mysteries of this deadly new frontier.
Question.
Yes.
Why Sweet Tooth?
I'm not quite sure.
All right.
Why it's called Sweet Tooth. Maybe because the kid's really nice. Like, he's a super nice kid. And that's kind of like his whole personality. Like, he trusts everybody. He's a little naive, too. He's 9 years old. So
I'm going to be honest with you.
like
when
a
you
deer in
first told...
headlights?
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This segment has gone off the rails. And
I'm not even controlling it anymore.
I was going to say, when you first told me that this series was coming out, when you said it was called Sweet Tooth, I had really cheesy anime type mindset going on here, you know?
New.
And that's not what I saw in the trailer.
I haven't even seen the trailer.
Really?
I like what
you
I
sent
know.
me the trailer, but you didn't watch
I never
the
watched
trailer.
it. I was just like, here, it's called DC. There you go, Nate.
Yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. is going to be executive producing it with his wife.
That's how I found out about it. Is I
Wifey.
follow him on Facebook, so that interests me.
It does, and he has a lot of faith in this.
Yeah,
a lot
to be
of
backing
faith.
that.
What do you guys think now that I've given you the description of really what it is instead of just seeing a trailer? Because the trailer didn't do
I
much.
get like almost Logan vibes from it.
Well, that's kind of on purpose, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh, okay. No, I sound very interesting. Wow, it sounds very interesting. I do want to give it a try. It sounds like it's got an interesting premise to it. Weird,
yes,
for sure. Very weird, but you know, this is DC. DC's got some strange stuff under its
Weird
label.
stuff, yes.
But I do want to try it.
Dad?
I am honestly a bit uncomfortable.
Why?
With this, because there is a school of thought from some biblical ancient scholars of the ancient biblical record that indicate that some of the how do I word this? Some of the perversions, I guess, that happened in the period between the fall in the Garden of Eden and the flood in Genesis 6 were this supernatural distortion of humanity with human and supernatural beings that were mated together and hybrid creatures that manifested sort of in like the pan god satyrs and those types of like human animal hybrids. And so when I first heard about this and saw it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but the trailer's really interesting, so I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I don't think that's
go there.
Well, no, I'm just saying that not that that's what would happen in this show. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the trivializing of something that might have bigger implications causes me to immediately take pause. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm weird. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm into this stuff.
All good.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a background and of kind of like filmography, but for books. Do they have a word for that?
Bibliography?
Bibliography. Yeah, that's right. You said that a few episodes back. The creator of this, the artist and the author, he did both of the comic series. His name is Jeff Lemire. He's best known for his work on Joker Killer Smile, which I've personally read. It was fantastic.
Isn't that the weird one, though, that you said? Like the real trippy one?
Yes. Apparently the comic for this was really trippy, too. The Thanos origin comic series from Marvel. And the Old Man Logan series, which was Logan was based off.
That explains it.
So that's kind of why you got those vibes of that. So he also, of course, oversaw this series and made sure that it followed more the feeling, the theme. But he made sure that this is kind of okay for families, not because the comic got really creepy and really dark towards the end because of how it was set up. But I've heard that this one's going to be a little bit more for families, and it's TV-14.
Like I've heard it compared to Stranger Things.
Yes, I've heard that too. They say it's more of a fantasy Stranger Things.
Okay,
that's how people are describing it. And of course, Robert Downey Jr. has been the face of this show ever since it started to be kind of in the thing, because all of these Marvel fans that aren't trying DC out are like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is behind this. I'll watch the series.
That's what got me interested in it, I'll be honest.
So his wife was also a really big supporter of this. And now let's read some reviews, because that's all I can read. Non-spoiler, of course. These are from critics and audience members. The first critic is, with a winning and occasionally brutal approach to its darkly fantastical imaginings, Sweet Tooth finds a nice balance between its sugary and bitter elements.
Sugary.
Yeah.
And that's why he gets paid to write.
Yeah, that's from Alex Smith McLevy at the AV Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, AV Club 2018. We are officially immortalized by them as
the second worst thing to happen on the internet
that year.
I thought I would
just look that. It up. All right, it's not. It's hilarious, and we have Adam Lance Garcia and Ryan Johnson to thank for that. So,
emotionally and geographically, this is a show with a real epic scope, and it earns the laughter and occasional tears that it wrings from the audience, thanks to a real and unquestionable sweetness. That's from Dan Feinberg.
Dad, are you going to be okay
Reporter.
with these reviews?
Yeah.
Being all diabetic?
The inaugural season only chronicles part of Gus and Jeopard's journey.
Oh, it's going to be multiple seasons.
Most likely. If they continue it. Netflix has a problem with that. But what a mark it leaves. This adaptation slowly worms its way into your heart and threatens to rip it out through awe, wonder, and character-driven emotional depth.
I don't want to see nobody die.
Is this a bulk season release?
Yeah, it came out all today.
I'm not a fan of that, but...
Well, that's Netflix's format.
Yeah, that's Netflix's style. Disney Plus does it different.
Right, yes. I understand.
Which is good. That was from Megan Navarro at Bloody Disgusting.
Bloody Disgusting.
Bloody Disgusting.
Ichuta Disgusting. Bloody is a really bad word.
But they use it all the time, and they never bleep it out, so...
Well, that's because we're in America.
They never bleep out F-bombs if they're in there. I'm just going to be...
Okay, all right. Thanks, Nate.
And now, if you don't trust critic reviews like some people, because sometimes they're just paid to say good things, I'm going to give you some audience. I liked what I saw today. It's a big yes. It's something so deep, responsive, sweet, adventurous, and dark, approved in full. I was surprised and totally involved. Perfect color photography montage from Mara B.
Perfect.
Thanks,
what?
Mara.
Kind of photography. That's the one thing I've heard from the series, is that the cinematography and the settings are.
How many episodes?
8.
Hour each, roughly.
I think so. Yeah. So, really enjoyable show. I watched it all in one sitting.
Oh my gosh!
I love the universe and the story, and it definitely succeeded in making me emotional. Would absolutely recommend.
That's a common theme here, is the emotion behind this series.
Yes. This show is absolutely brilliant. Watch the first episode, and I'm loving this. Thanks, Netflix and RDJ, for this masterpiece.
So, when you showed it to me earlier, I think it was yesterday, it may have been, or it could have been today, you showed me the Rotten Tomatoes. It was 100 critics and a 100 on audience. What's it at now? Do you know?
I'm checking. It's at a 97 critics and 96 audience.
Dang, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good for both to be that high.
I can't imagine Netflix canceling it.
Who knows what they'll do.
That's awesome.
So, Sweet Tooth Season 1, all of it is already out. So, go check it out on Netflix exclusively if any of this sounds interesting to you. And I guess some of the things that Dad said. Dad, back to you.
Yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Yeah, so Marvel doesn't want Rachel Weisz, did I say that right? From Black Widow to talk about Melina Vostokov's last name. She was on Jimmy Kimmel, and she informed the audience that the host informed the audience and the host that Marvel doesn't want her character's last name revealed yet for some reason. I don't know. I'm
the Marvel dude.
I'm not the Marvel dude, though. I just go on rabbit trails sometimes.
I can't think of who it could be.
Well, who was the dad referenced by Red Skull in Endgame? Remember, he was talking about your.
That would be wild.
Do you think it's her real mother?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think it could be. Maybe this is like her adoptive family, like that adopted her when she became a spy. It was like a cover family, basically.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah, so...
I don't know. Who knows? The Flash director gives the first tease of Michael Keaton's new Batman costume.
How were you when you saw it, BB?
That was really exciting. And a little fun fact, it's actually the symbol and the suit from Batman Returns, not the first original Batman. So,
well, that's the second time we see him in that suit.
Yeah.
So.
And the producer, his wife, said that over 25% of the film is already shot.
So, wow. That's cool.
All right.
He was one of my favorite characters in the Snyderverse.
Oh, and the digital effects director for it and Zack Snyder's Justice League said that they're going with the feel of Zack Snyder's Flash rather than the original Justice League.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Just if you're listening, don't believe all those rumors that are floating around right now that George Lucas is taking Star Wars back.
PSA.
That's my anything else. All the sites that have been saying that have been proven to be horribly less than reputable, and they're just clickbaity. So I know that people are like all of a sudden like, oh, George Lucas is coming back.
Didn't that happen like a couple years ago?
It happens about once every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, when the news cycle is slow, they just pull that one out again.
Yeah, exactly. So don't believe it. Anyway, all right. Thank you so much for listening to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast.
If you had a great time listening, it'd be awesome if you could share this with your friends from Podchaser and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, the show is only a small part of the Tatooine Sons world, so be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and make sure Instagram. We're actually a little bit more active on that now.
Yeah.
Thanks to Savannah.
Exactly. And don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss our next episode. Remember, if you drop us a review on Podchaser, then we're going to go ahead and make a donation in your honor, like we did for Lou Holt, to one child to help a child living in extreme poverty. And then make sure you join us next week, as once again, we're going to give our reactions to the latest episode of The Bad Batch. We will have seen the first episode of Loki, and we'll be giving our reactions to that as well. And then we'll probably watch a little Sweet Tooth this week, so you may get some reactions on that. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But again, if you're in LA, Lower Alabama, stop by Fish River Grill on Foley on Tuesday evening, or the one at Fairhope on Wednesday for some pop culture trivia fun.
They have really good cheese curds too, by the way. I just want to
it's a lot of fun.
I'm not being paid to
say hi to us and tell Kevin that you had a good time. So Kevin's the owner. So anyway, anything else you guys would like to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Troy, please.